is Zakk Wylde over here, and we're watching EMGtv, and this is 5 minutes with me. Well, what's my favorite riff to play live and why? Well, I mean, all of them. As long as we're up there, you have a good time while you're playing. But I guess it would have to be the new song, The Gallows. And it goes something like this. We just did it only one time because we did the Berserkers and that was about it. So, but here it goes. It goes something like this. I'll play it low and then here we go. I've seen some other people playing it, but the whole thing of it is it's an open A in there. There's some trickery going on over there. And that's that. That's the Gallows. What's a riff that every guitar player should know or learn how to play? I guess it would have to be, depends on who your favorite band is. You know what I mean? I always think it's just like, why should I have to learn that? You know what I mean? It's just like, no, you don't need to learn that. I mean, it's just you learn what you love. Largest one where everybody knows it would have to be Smoke on the Water. I mean, hands down, that's number one. I mean, you know, you can learn how to play. I mean, for me, I learned how to play. You know what I mean? So then you had. That's another one, Iron Man. You know what I mean? So, but those, because it's one string. You know what I mean? So I would think for everybody that begins, you know, because at least you sound like you're making music. I would have to say Smoke on the Water, hands down. You'd have to go with Smoke of all time. I mean, and then you know. And then you learn the power of the flat five, which is just dominating and crushing. So you know, probably always put that in your soup a lot of times because people it might be a bland soup. As soon as you throw the flat five seasoning into whatever soup you have, it doesn't matter what soup it is. You put the flat five Lord Iomi seasoning in there, it's lights out, game over. People are like, this soup is delicious. So yeah, but the flat five is just it's a powerful weapon. But people seem to enjoy it. Lights out, game over. Gotta go Smoke on the Water. My favorite guitar body style, well, obviously you would have to figure, you know, when I first started, I loved, you know, Jimmy Page, Tony Iommi, you know, Lord Iommi, because Sabbath, it's usually whoever your favorite band is as your favorite player. So, you know, so for me, it was always Lord Iommi with the SG. You got the Pontiff over there, Pope Page over there, Jimmy. So it would be Les Paul, SGs, and then obviously St. Rhodes with the Vs. But I think like I gotta be honest with you, I love all shapes of all guitars. So I mean, even though I'm primarily, you know, obviously you have Les Paul custom guys and Les Paul standard guys. You know what I mean? Like I just always loved the customs. You know what I mean? Not that it had bells and whistles on it and the binding and more things on it, and just, you know, I just love the sound of it and the feel of the guitars. I mean, I still love the rosewood necks and everything like that, but I also love you know, the ebony fretboards, maple necks, and just the feel of the customs for me, you know, when I first started out, and I just love them. But I also love customs too, though. But I love all, I mean, even the odd shaped guitars and everything like that. There's a bunch of fellas I follow on Instagram, Ugly Guitars. It's the best. They just put the most hideous, ugliest guitars. And I go, there's another great guitar design that would be great for wild audio. So, you know, no, but I love, I mean, the great thing about, you know, creating my own body shapes and everything like that, I'll just take either classic designs that I like. There's some other guitars that weren't popular or whatever. And it's just like, you put them in a blender, you the top half you use, and then the middle and the back end is like, man, that would be cool if I put this up on the top or the horns or whatever. So, I mean, that's the fun of making the guitars and doing wild audio. But you know, even when I was with Gibson, when we did the ZV, which is the Warhammer, you know, you have Tony Iommi in the front and you have Randy in the back. You know what I mean? You got the V, you got the SG in the front and the V in the back. But you know, and you tweak it a bit and you do, you know, and stuff like that. So that was fun. But I mean, I love all the obscure guitar companies and everything like that. Ever since I was a kid, I loved, you know, all the BC Rich with the crazy shapes and stuff like that. Then you have the Alembics, and you have, I mean, it's, obviously you have your Gibson and Fender, but I mean, even when, you got to think back when Gibson came out with the V, the Explorer, and the Modern, people were just like losing their mind, like going, who's gonna even want to play these things? You know what I mean? Considering they came out in the late 50s. So I mean, there was some pretty amazing. It was amazing that they even saw the light of day back then. You know, that didn't happen in the 70s or something. But yeah, the Deans I think are all awesome. I think you know, Dan Electros, all guitar. I've never met a guitar I didn't like. So let's just put it that way. They're all awesome, man. Well, I think they're all. What's my most memorable recording moment ever? Well, I would think. Well, I mean, they're all different, you know, because I would always ask Oz, you know, what was his favorite moments of what, you know, from Sabbath to with Randy and Jake and everything like that. He was just always like, well, I really like this one. Or, you know, I mean, with Oz, it always would be mostly whether he had a good time making specific albums or whatever. You know what I mean? So. For me, I always had a blast. You're doing what you love and you're making records, but I know where Ozzy's coming from too. But no, for me, I mean, I guess it would have to be like Miracle Man or anything like that, like actually hearing the playback and when it was done. And then I remember the first time I heard it on the radio. So that was pretty. I'd have to go with that. I mean, that was pretty monumental. But hearing the first side was the first song I ever wrote with the Boss, and then the first song with the Boss I ever heard on the radio. So yeah, that was pretty monumental. But I mean, obviously, you know, No More Tears and Mama I'm Coming Home and everything like that, and then and hearing those. But you know, but then like with the Black Label stuff, whether it's Stillborn or Suicide Messiah, any of those, and then even up to the new one when I'm doing the Gallows. But I mean, even the Book of Shadows records, I think you ask any musician when they're hearing the playbacks and it's finally done and it's the way you want it, it's just it's awesome. You know, the feeling of satisfaction from when you first wrote it to it coming to life. So I think you ask any musician, they'll say the same thing. My most memorable live performance, I guess. I mean, I love getting up there every night, but I would have to say, going back to Oz again. I mean, playing my first arena with Ozzy was in Pensacola, Florida. Now that I'm playing with Charlie in the Pantera celebration, Anthrax was out on the road with us. So even Charlie goes, I remember that show. You know, he goes, I seen your first, you know, arena show. So because Charlie was there. So then we were all rolling together. But no, I was in Pensacola, Florida. I remember with Oz and Anthrax. So that was. Yeah, without a doubt. Just seeing the house lights go down and everything. And from being on the stage, seeing Ozzy, you know, I saw Bernie Torme with Oz. I saw Jake with Oz, with Motley Crue. And the first concert I ever saw was Mob Rules with Sabbath. So, and you know, just how magic it was when the house lights were down and everything like that. So to be on the stage at that point, and when the house lights went down and the roar, the crowd and everything, it was just pretty amazing. So yeah, you'll never forget it. And then actually when we did the first Pantera Celebration show, I actually got that same rush. You know, like before we had the kabuki up, and then once the house music was done, the intro tape, and we were getting ready to start, it was just, you know, like going down, you're ready to go on a roller coaster. So it's like that much of a rush. That's how exciting it is. So, but yeah, I equated that Pantera, that first Pantera Celebration show was like I got the same rush as I did the first Ozzy gig, for sure. Well, I mean, as guitar players, I mean, we all love pedals just because they're fun. You know what I mean? Because different sound and then they inspire you to write, come up with ideas. You know, when you hear certain sounds, whether you're playing acoustic guitar, you're playing a piano, clean guitar, distorted guitar, it inspires you to write a certain way. So yeah, that's why pedals are great. But no, I think for me, it would have to be a distortion pedal. You know, my Berserker pedal, because the whole thing is. The rest of them, I love them, but I mean, the distortion, if I didn't have the distortion, it wouldn't be as fun a night, that's for sure. the way me and Dario, the way the heads are set, it's dirty, but you turn off, you know, you can play AC/DC, Highway to Hell or Back in Black, and there'll be no feedback. You know what I mean? So it's still, you turn it down a little bit, and there's a bit of hair on there, but it's still clean. So, but you know, what the Berserker Overdrive does, it just gives you more of what you have. So when you're full blast with the guitar, it's dirty, but it would still, you know, it would die out. You know, as far as like just waiting for sustain, you're not going to get it. So you need that pedal to give you the oomph and everything like that. So for me, it would have to be the distortion pedal, the Berserker Overdrive. Yeah, I've heard lots of bands cover the thing, so which is always great. I mean, you always get a blast hearing anybody play. I think you ask any musician, they'll tell you it's awesome when you hear someone. Yeah, it's an honor whenever you hear somebody cover that you inspired them enough to want to do it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, regardless whether it's crushing or it's it turns in, it needs a little bit of tweaking. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just I think you ask any musician, he'll tell you it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful honor when somebody covers anything you've done. You know, whether it's on Instagram or whether they actually did a recording of it or whatever. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, for sure. Do I have somebody that could be my stunt double? I guess if I didn't have the beard, and I guess the Immortal Below, I guess Barbara Ann would ask me to put on a Chewbacca mask or something, you know what I mean? I guess we're gonna have to go with Chewbacca, man. Or Lon Chaney as the Wolf Man. I don't know if I just put that mask on, she would just probably tell me to keep it on at all times. Let's just go with Lon Chaney. JD loves Lon Chaney. He loves the original Wolf, well, the Wolf Man. So we'll go with that.